Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Japanese tech tree tier 7 tank destroyer, the Cheeto SP. If you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Cheeto SP. It is a fantastic tier 7 tank destroyer. I have thoroughly enjoyed this tank. And so far as I'm nearly done with the tier 9 at the point of this video. As far as I've played all the way up to the tier 9, I think this is probably my favourite in the line. Because it's got quite a lot going for it. It's got a fantastic 105mm gun. It's just glorious. Honestly, it's really consistent. It's got good DPM and it just feels really nice to use. The Armour tier for tier is very, very nice as well. And I say tier for tier because it will ricochet you a good amount of shots, but naturally as you get against tier 8s and tier 9s, they will pen you. But you've also got a weak spot on top that you can see the little cupola that is actually pennable. So you do have to be very, very careful, but if you use your brain and basically keep wiggling and moving and making it as hard as possible for people to hit that cupola, it's not always guaranteed that they're going to do anything for you. Or against you, I should say. But the one thing that this tank has is the fact that it's terrible stock. It's awful stock, okay? Just get past it. Just get past it. Just get past the stock grind. Oh my lord, it's awful. Because it's slow. It's slow when it's stocked because the engine just doesn't give it anything. This 75mm gun, while it's very consistent and has really good DPM, is kind of painful to use and feels very underwhelming and underpowered for the tank. And yeah, the stock grind is just ugh. But once you get it fully upgraded and you get the better engine power and you get that 10.5cm gun, oh, you're going to have such a whale of a time. It's just so nice to play. I cannot reiterate how nice it is to play when it's fully upgraded. This stock gun that you're seeing in this first replay is a 75cm gun. And it has 140 damage with 155 penetration on the standard AP and 200 on the premium AP as well. Which is pretty decent penetration for a stock gun on a tier 7. Means again, you're going to pen most things you're going to face unless you get against tier 9s, in which case you're going to struggle against the tier 9 heavy tanks. But 200mm will still see you just about right, I hope. And you just got to get through it. You just got to get through it because this gun, yeah, honestly, is not the best. Just get through this stock grind if you can. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this tank? Well, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Camouflage Expertise, Silent Driving, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, and then I run the Advanced Loader, the Camo Net, and Optics. Optics to be able to make my view range as good as possible, the Camo Net to get the camo down to a pretty damn good level for this tank, and the Advanced Loader to make my DPM 10% better. The 2 camo skills to make sure that the camo is, again, as good as you can get it down to, and Silent Driving helps it reduce the effective movement on your camo, because you can get the still concealment on this tank down to 241 meters of still concealment, which is really damn nice. And then the 2 gun perks, because I want to make the gun 10% better as always, and I want to make it so it reduces the bloom while on the move and stuff with run and gun. And then clutch braking, because again I want to get this gun turned on target as quickly as possible. So this first game, you've just seen me here, that was with that 75mm gun. And that was honestly one of the best games I had with it. It was an awful experience. I finished with the 3rd class, the 867 base XP on a loss, the 2k damage, and 1200 assistance. That game there for that gun was just epitomised the gun in general, where I felt like I would have done, obviously I would have done far better with 320 alpha, right? But I had to just stay. If I wanted to get the damage and I wanted to get rid of guns out of the game, I had to stay in a position, keep wiggling to try and just keep shooting them non-stop. And that's how I had to get the damage, which again gave them the opportunity to just get the shots into where it counts. And thus they picked off the weak spot and we died. But now we have the top gun. And that is the 10.5cm. And with this gun, we've got 205 penetration on the standard AP. So we've got 5 better pen than the stock gun on its premium round. And we have 244 penetration on their premium AP, which is good enough for a tier 7 tank destroyer. You are going to be able to pen everything you're going to face, probably except for type 4 heavies, pretty much. with this gun, with the premium AP, and obviously with the standard AP as well. You'll pen most tanks you're going to face as well. And this gun is glorious. It is just so consistently beautiful. You've got a 6.71 second reload with which is a 6.1 second reload with food boosted, which is beautiful, which gives you 2.8k DPM, which is great. The accuracy with the build I have is down at 0.32, which is pretty accurate. You've got a 2.12 second aim time with this build as well, which is, again, not too bad. The accuracy during rotation is also at 0.81, which is great, with a 2.17 accuracy during movement, which, again, is not the best, but to be honest, it just means that this gun doesn't really bloom out that much after you've been full chat on the move or swivel in the tank round, which means it doesn't take too long for that 2.12 second aim time to actually get aimed in. You also have 7 degrees of gun depression with, well, both guns as well, which helps you out on the ridgeline quite nicely for the Cheeto SP, and it actually accentuates the armor quite nicely too. So when you are on a ridgeline, it means that tanks do struggle to pen you while you are hull down. Naturally, if they get your lower plate, they're going to pen it. If they get the cupola, they're going to pen it. But the superstructure, because of the way it's angled and stuff like that, does get pretty damn bouncy. You just naturally, you have to temper what you're shooting against. If you're against tier 6s, tier 5s, tier 7s, and some tier 8s, you are guaranteed to probably bounce them off of your superstructure. But obviously, if you get against tier 8s with high pen and tier 9s, that's where it's going to struggle. But that's where you've got to play what you're playing against, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, and then obviously you've got the 473 meters of view range that the Cheeto SP has as well, which means that you can actually spot for yourself really quite well. You can spot for yourself really nicely in this tank, and with the 241 meters of still concealment as well, it means that you can spot things at good distances and then use the beautiful camo that this tank has to stay unspotted while you farm them with the great DPM at 2.8 that this thing, again, has. And it was just a dream. This tank was just a dream to play. I hated the grind stock. I played like I think I played 5 or 10. I think it was 10 games in the end while I was stock in this tank. It's between 5 and 10 anyway. Before I got sick of it and skipped to the top gun because I was just like I can't stand it anymore. And I was dreading it. I was dreading keeping playing it because that stock gun made it horrible. And then I unlocked this gun and my mind was blown. And all of a sudden I went, oh my god, I love this thing. I absolutely love it. It's so nice. That's what I felt like with the Cheeto SP. And it's revolutionary. Getting that top gun is definitely revolutionary for this tank. And it is a very, very nice tank to play. It's a very, very enjoyable grind. You just got to play it like most tank destroyers. If you can get yourselves on a ridgeline and get hulled down, great. You can use the fantastic camo, put yourselves in snipey positions, and you will have a good time. Because this gun, like I say, is pretty damn consistent. You do have 925 AP... Well, 925 meters a second shell velocity on the AP, and 1,050 meters of shell velocity on the premium AP. So naturally, you still have to lead it at a good distance to make sure that you're going to hit the target at distance. But the premium 1,050 shell velocity is not too bad either, really. But yeah, this tank is just, yeah, I don't know, I can't wax lyrical enough about it, really. Because you do have that 40 kph top speed, which is really, really nice. It's very similar, to be honest, this is like the tier 7 version of the Kari. Right, tier for tier. It's very, very similar to the Kari. If you've played the Kari and you know how to play the Kari, you're probably going to enjoy the Cheeto SP exactly the same, because the camo, or the way you play with the camo, is very, very similar. The way you play with the hull down is very, very similar. Tier for tier, naturally, the gun still hits quite hard for what it is at tier 7. Not quite as hard as 500 at tier 8, naturally, in terms of tier for tier, but you're still hitting for quite a slug, and you don't really have to worry about the penetration all that much. And you do hit that 40 km/h top speed because you have a 14.99 horsepower per ton ratio, which is great. The one thing you got to be careful of is you do have a 20% fire chance, which means this thing will catch on fire if you get hit through the engine. Be very, very, very careful. So this second game, as you've seen so far, we're up to 2.8k damage with 705 assistance. And oh my lord, but did I say this gun's consistent? Did I say that? RNG giveth and RNG taketh, right? We've managed to put 2 shots straight underneath that T29, but he's bounced off us, and to be honest, I've got all the hit points, so I wasn't bothered about sitting in front of him because he was the last tank alive. We managed to get 3.5k damage with 756 assistance, so we're finished with the victory. 1 kill, 3.5k damage, the 756 assistance, the Confederate, the high caliber, the second class, for 1481 base XP, which is a fairly average game for the Cheeto SP. And that was the fairly average experience, really, while you are top tier, where you will bounce quite a lot, and you'll be able to keep slapping out the rounds as well, and just keep consistently delivering the old damage. But we're on the third replay, and this third replay, we are on this map, which is... How did Brain forget this? It's the map that we don't like. It's Dragon's Ridge. Brain needs to engage, please, so that we can remember the maps that we've played on for nearly 10 years. Good gravy. So we're on Dragon's Ridge, and Dragon's Ridge, this spawn, I do not likey. Me no likey. I just do not like this spawn on this map in World War II. I don't mind it as much in Cold War, if I'm honest, but that's because True Vision exists, and that makes some of the campy positions a lot more untenable to use, right? Because you can just see them on top of the hills, which can help in Cold War. Whereas this one, because of the distances between the ridge lines and some of the really good campy spots that they have on the south, and the amount of bushes that they have, you just won't spot them. So the position down at J5 is stupidly strong, or it's J4 really, is stupidly strong, because they can actually spot us at G7, and if anything spots us, yeah, they'll be able to shoot us. But we will never, ever see them. If we want to spot that, we basically have to YOLO down into the dip to see if we can spot it. Or we have to go all the way down the 9 line to then cut up the K line. And that's the safe way to do it. But naturally, that's a pain if you're in something extremely slow, because there's a lot of ridge lines, as you're seeing, to climb, and a lot of hills to go up, which is pain. And I just don't like Dragon's Ridge, because of there's just spots in this map that are way too powerful and completely sway a spawn or not, just because people decided to camp on them and don't move, and therefore, you know, you get screwed because they can spot you from that position really easily, but you cannot spot them until it's too late, pretty much. Most of the time you've spent crossing that open ground trying to get to that TD spot, you've lost all of your hit points, which is definitely pain. But we've come to a position that's quite nice to take from our side, which is F7. And it's quite nice to take because you can get shots at people where the T-34 is. You can get shots across where that rover is. And if anyone goes and sits at E5 or E4 from their team to try and attack the 1, 2, 3, you can actually shoot them in the rear and the side too, which completely, obviously, dissuades their defense of that side. So we try and get a shot there into the Ho Ni 3. And sadly, the gun went, nah, I don't feel like hurting my Japanese cousin, my tier 5 brethren. Nah, I don't feel like that. And it missed. But the Ho Ni is a fairly sad tank, and we managed to just put 2 shots into him and finish him off. There is a heavy tank behind me and a Churchill. What, there's 2 heavy tanks behind me. And I realised, oh, can I get shots at these guys? I can. We get a shot into the Churchill 1. I just pull forward, so I'm making sure not to get shot by the medium tank that was, I think, trying to get shots at me from behind. Then we watch the Tiger P, because I think, is this Tiger P going to give me a shot? Am I going to be able to see him over this rock if he keeps driving? And the answer is yes. Yes, we will. We get a shot into the back end of that Tiger P, and he's probably going to get out of render range soon, which is, well, he just gets unspotted. But we get a nice shot into him blind because we keep leading it, and I'm just going to keep trying to lead to see if I can hit him blind. We see the tree go down, and that just means we can't get that Tiger P, sadly. But there's a medium tank back there. There's also a heavy tank at C8, and I decide, you know what? They're probably going to be able to deal with it. Let's just leave them to it. I knock down the trees in the hope that, well, number 1, they won't slow me down. And number 2, maybe they'll give me some camo and, you know, concealment through the little trees and bushes. We can see shell tracers flying from back there. Can you see them? We can see the shell tracers. We know there's TDs back there on those TD ledges. And I'm just trying to feather them out, see if I can blind fire them, because it's always great. There we go. We hit one of them and we set it on fire. Oh, it's a poor Ho Ni 3. That is satisfying. We actually set fire to that guy, and well, he just about escapes. Then we get an RBRT snapped in to shut down the skull cap, which is a very rare tank. Then we shut down the M4. 2 kills in the blink of an eye, just like that. T-34-88 is back at J4. I'm just thinking, will he give me a shot? We're just watching him, because he is getting shot by the medium tank, which means he's going to push out somewhere, right? or move to a position where maybe he will give us a shot, but he's not quite giving it to us. We see the light tanks in our base, which is something that we didn't see. There's the T-34A8. Maybe we can get the shot, and there we go. We get the shot in blind, just as he got unspotted, and that will put him down to a one-shot for our medium tank over there, and a one-shot for us. But the light tank is in our cap. Again, we know the Tiger P was over there somewhere, because he was going up that way, and he is still alive. So I decided, you know what, okay, I'm not going to be doing much else here, to be honest, because they have still got stuff on their camper hill, which is, there's nothing I can do about that whatsoever, unless I YOLO it. But I don't want to YOLO it yet, because I'm not 100% certain that our cap is safe, so I'm going to go back and help the heavy tank against this Rover 237. And like I say, I've just checked to see, is that Tiger P still alive? And yes, he is. So we swivel around into a position where we can shoot this Rover. We're just trying to make sure we're going to get a shot into him where we can see him, but he's just going in and out between where there's rocks. It's just kind of, it's one of those awkward ones. He ends up stopping. It was a poor shot, really. We ended up just misleading that, and the T-43 gives him a delightful little ram to get rid of that Rover 237. But there's the Tiger P. The Tiger P ends up getting lit up over here, so we're going to try and maneuver ourselves to get into the position to help this heavy tank out, if we can, because we don't want to leave him on his Todd. And there we go. We get the shot into his side. In fact, I think the IS put a big shot in for 440. That was quite a roll. And we managed to get the kill on the Tiger P and get rid of him. We're up to 4 kills with 3.2k damage. There's currently 5 tanks left on the enemy team. There's artillery somewhere knocking around. Then there's the Tiger 1 that's in their spawn, which kind of looks like his AFK. And the 2 TDs and the medium tank. The medium tank is currently spotted at J2, which is the T-34A8 from earlier on. And then there's 2 TDs, which I'm assuming are on their camper hill. We have people shooting, and we have people that are getting up the ridge lines. So I feel like, you know what, okay. They're not tank destroyers that I feel like are going to eliminate all of my hit points in 2 shots. Because they are Ho-Ni 3s, and naturally we have ground through that relatively recently, which means we know also they have no view range, which means my fantastic camo means, and my good view range means I'm going to outspot them every single time. And so we end up pushing forward, and of course we find the Ho-Ni 3. He pushes down the ridge and gets shut down. Then we find the artillery, and it's like, oh goodness gracious me, that's a GW Panther. That might hurt. Thankfully, he misses. Will we be able to get the shot to shut him down? No, we won't. We get shot in the buttocks by the T-3488, but he gets shut down by the KV-1 because he overexposed to get the shot into us. And that leaves just 1 tank destroyer left. It is another Ho-Ni 3, and like I say, we ended up spotting him because, yeah, we know because we've ground through it. We know it's blind. We know it's got 310 meters view range, which means, yeah, it's completely blind. We know it's got good camo, but the thing is, I've got camo that's pretty much just as good. And I've got 473 meters of view range with the build I've got, which means I'm going to outspot it every single time. And most of the time I can 2-shot them, which is sad for the Ho-Ni 3, but again, I am a tier 7, right? He is a tier 5 tank destroyer. It is what it is. It's balancing. But that tank is not the best anyway. So we end up finding the Ho-Ni 3, and it's like, hello, sir, I'm not afraid of you. You can have a free shot. Good night, sweet prince. Get out of my game. And we finish off that Ho-Ni 3. And we finish the game with the victory. 5 kills, 3.8k damage, 335 assistance. The first class, the high caliber, and 1786 base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the Cheeto SP. On Dragon's Ridge, which again is a map that I'm not a big fan of. But we're on to the 4th and final replay of the video, and we've got a bit of a cracker for you. We're on Nomininom, and on Nomininom, we are going to go to the positions at CD4. We're going to go to the positions at CD4 because they are very, very good positions to take. They will give you very good positions across, well, very good shots, sorry, across the 1 line. They will give you good positions to be able to spot the people on the 1 line, which means if there's people camping, they'll, you know, behind you, you'll be able to get free assistance damage, which is always nice. And also, there's a lot of places where you can actually use your camo. There's, you know, there's ridge lines to pull back behind if you need to. And they're just very, very good ridge lines to use. And they're good at breaking the camp that can happen on Nomininom. And this is the problem, I suppose, for the southern team, is that they don't really have that. They have the campy spots, and that's it. Which means that they will, because if anyone takes positions at CD3, they can just counter the people trying to get our campers out. and it's not a good time. I'm not a big fan of nominee non with the southern spawn, but if I get this northern spawn, I feel like I'm always going to have a good time. Possibly. RNG giveth, RNG taketh, right? And sometimes teams do wacky things. But we are here at CDE4, and what I want to do is push straight up to that rock on my right, because that way, again, I can get underneath the gun line, and it makes it so I'm a bit closer to be able to spot the DE1. But as we come over here, we ended up spotting the SU-130PM, and unfortunately didn't hit him, and then we managed to snap a shot into the Senshi. But that Senshi also, while he was on the move, snapped a shot into us, but he is losing all of his hit points because our campers on the hill down at F8, it's harsh to call them campers really when they've only just got there, well, they managed to get shots into that Senshi and he's basically lost all of his hit points. We only did get about 443 assistance for that, which is kind of sad. I was hoping to get a little bit more, but it is what it is. I'm just watching the corner thinking, is he going to poke out? I feel like I might not spot him, so let's just blind fire him, see if he's there. And hello, Mr. Senshi! You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I felt like I might not spot that Senshi, especially if he kitted out for camo. So I thought, you know what? Before I decide to move on to try and attack these guys behind me, I'm going to pop a blind shot and see if he's still there. Because if he's still there, I'll get him, I'll shut him down. Because I wanted to move to this rock here, but if that Senshi was still alive, it could have made my life very, very awkward using this spot. So I decided to just pop the blind shot, see if I kill him. If I didn't kill him, then whatevs. But we did. We got rid of him. And once again, it's always worth a blind fire if you think there's a possibility they're going to move back into a bush like that, or just move back out around the corner, wait for you to get spotted yourself, right? So we've come now to this position here at D3, D4, and this is where the Cheeto SP can be very, very nice, because we've got pretty damn nice armor. Once again, you saw I looked at the SU-130PM and went, okay, that's an SU-130PM. There's every likelihood that SU-130PM can actually pen me. I'm not going to take the hit from that guy, and we pulled back. But when the Jackson was looking at us, I was quite happy to do it, because my armor is going to work against the Jackson. He's got 160-odd pen on his standard AP rounds, and even with his 240 pen on his premium APCR, he will pen me, but occasionally won't, you know. He could ricochet, because I've got angles, and we're using the perfect place for our armor, which is on this ridgeline. And we're just slamming out the shots, and this is where our camo is also nice as well, because we've now got unspotted. They are still blind firing this position, but we managed to shut down the Jackson there. We're up to 2,000 damage with 1,197 assistance and 3 kills. There's a Calliope over there, I think. Then we find a Balsing, and I'm like, oh no, that's really awkward. Thank goodness gracious me, he doesn't shoot me. He's poking out to get a shot, and I'm thinking, oh no, it's a big gun Balsing as well. He could kill me in one shot. But he's not popped a shot at us. I'm thinking, okay, sure. So we pop over the ridgeline and shut him down. And we actually bounced an AP round from the KV-2 too there. The KV-2 too? Imagine a KV-2 double barrel there. But no, anyway, sorry. Digressions. The SU-152 comes over, bounces his AP round off us. 135 pen on the AP rounds of the SU-152. Never going through this tank unless he properly hits the lower plate. And we managed to snap the shot into him, put him down to a one-shot. We chanced the shot against the Balsig because, well, the Balsig's bloom would be massive with that big gun. And because he was pulling back along the ridgeline, I thought, you know what, we'll chance it, we'll probably get away with it. And we did. We're up to 2.8k damage, 2.3k assistance with those 4 kills. And there's only 3 tanks left on the enemy team. There's the 2 heavy tanks, which is a KV-2, which we know where he is. Artillery, which we're probably going to know where they are. And there we go. We've managed to get up alongside this KV-2. We put a shot straight through the side of his turret. He is looking for a shot into us. Can we find a cheeky one into him underneath this dead wreck? And we do. We shut down the KV-2 there with the shot through the dead wreck. There's a 53 TP, which is a tier 8, because this is a +1 game. The artillery ends up missing the shot on us, and the 53 TP is delightfully out in the open. Sadly, I thought that 53 TP was going to back up even more than he did, and, well, they just didn't. We put a shot through the side of the 53 TP. He's now a one-shot, and I think, you know what, I can take a hit from this guy, so I'm just going to risk it. He's actually stock as well, which means he's got 175 pen, which is not always the guarantee to go through my tank, but, well, we didn't have to worry about it because he didn't fire. The artillery does miss us, though, which is always great. I was just waiting for him to miss, and he's the last one left. So we've loaded the HE, ready for the artillery so we can pen it, because we've seen it's an M44. There he is. We put the shell in, 445, set it on fire. Good night, Mr. M44. And we've finished the game with a really great total for the Cheeto SP. Finished with the epic victory, 7 kills, 4.4k damage, 2.5k assistance. The Ace Tanker, the Devastator, the Top Gun, the High Caliber, with 2.5k base XP. A really great game there for the Cheeto SP. A tank that is, honestly, is a lot of fun. I really did enjoy this tank. I really enjoyed the grind through this tank. It was a joy to play once you got past the stock grind. The stock grind really isn't great, but once you get it fully upgraded, honestly, it's definitely a very, very nice tank. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success.